From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. The acting commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service is resigning over a deal to share immigrants' tax data with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for the purpose of identifying and deporting people illegally in the United States, according to two people familiar with the decision. Melanie Krause, who had served as acting head since February, will step down over the new data sharing document signed Monday by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The agreement will allow ICE to submit names and addresses of immigrants inside the U.S. illegally to the IRS for cross-verification against tax records. Two people familiar with the situation confirmed Krause was resigning and spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss it publicly. The IRS has been in upheaval over Trump administration decisions to share taxpayer data. Acting Commissioner Douglas O'Donnell announced his retirement from the agency after roughly 40 years of service in February as furor spread over Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency gaining access to IRS taxpayer data. Krause replaced him. Acting Chief Counsel William Paul was removed from his role at the agency last month and replaced by Andrew DeMello, an attorney in the Chief Counsel's office who was deemed supportive of DOJ, according to two other people familiar with the plans who were also not authorized to speak publicly. The Treasury Department says the agreement will help carry out President Donald Trump's agenda to secure U.S. borders and is part of his larger nationwide immigration crackdown, which has resulted in deportations, workplace raids, and the use of an 18th century wartime law to deport Venezuelan migrants. I highly doubt in 1798, when the Alien Enemies Act was passed, that anyone even knew much about Venezuela, let alone was worried that we would have to someday deport migrants. And yet, here we are. Advocates, however, say the IRS-DHS information sharing agreement violates privacy laws and diminishes the privacy of all Americans. Two major universities have had their federal government grant funding put on hold. The Trump administration has frozen over $1 billion in funding for Cornell University and $790 million for Northwestern University while it investigates both schools over civil rights violations, a U.S. official said on Tuesday. The funding being paused includes mostly grants and contracts with the federal departments of health, education, agriculture, and defense, the official said, speaking on condition of anonymity. The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to block federal funding for schools over pro-Palestinian campus protests, as well as other issues such as diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and transgender policies. So let me ask you, Mr. Trump, which one was it that caused the stock market to crash the other day? Actually, the last several days. Was that caused by immigrants trying to flee the country, or was that caused by DEI, or was it transgender policies that brought stock markets tumbling? We would like some answers on that. Last month, it sent a letter to 60 universities, including Cornell and Northwestern, that it could bring enforcement actions if a review determined the schools had failed to stop what it called anti-Semitism. Cornell University said that while it had not received formal notification of the worth or total amount of funding freeze from the government, it did receive stop work orders from the Defense Department related to research on defense, health, and cybersecurity. It added that it was seeking more information from the government. Northwestern said it was aware of media reports about the funding freeze, but had not received any official notification from the government, and that it has cooperated in the investigation. And now this news from Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia School District recently hired its first LGBTQ plus manager of student supports, a new position created to specifically serve the district's LGBTQ plus youth and families. Tim McKinney moved from Big Brothers Big Sisters for the role and is now 3 months into the job. It's so fun to have a job with LGBTQ plus in the title and a gift, said McKinney, who joked that their day job is a gay job, and particularly now when there's less of that than ever. I'm very much feeling the honor and the privilege of it, and also the pressure of it to serve and to deliver. McKinney, a licensed social worker by trade, can rattle off the statistics, including dramatically increased rates of homelessness and foster care for LGBTQ plus youth that have seen negatively impact real kids in Philadelphia. But in this new position, they have a chance to make a strong impact. My goal here is to collect and connect, they said, explaining that they collect resources from the area's many organizations that serve LGBTQ plus young people and connect those offerings to students who need them. In addition to helping the district develop and implement LGBTQ plus inclusive policies, they have an open door policy and regularly meet with students to learn how to best advocate for their needs. They're also organizing the district's third annual Health and Wellness Summit, which will welcome 400 students across 35 schools, a record for the district. PEP Radio news stories are available on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also find our news videos on the PEP Radio channel on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. That's the news at this hour. Now back to more music on PEP Radio.